At a town hall last night in Iowa, former Vice President Pence was asked by CNN's Dana Bash about this very question. How can you say you would support a man who you say has so corrupted the country?
You just spent a lot of time, both here and earlier today, explaining why you think that the former president did not uphold his oath to the Constitution. So then how can you say that you would support him if he's the nominee?
Well, because I don't think Donald Trump's going to be the nominee
what if he
in the
is?
Republican Party. I don't think he's going to be the nominee.
What if he is?
I have great confidence in Republican primary voters. We have a field of strong and experienced candidates that grew by one today. And I truly do believe that people here in Iowa are going to recognize the challenges that we're facing and understand that different times call for different leadership.
Joe, so he's saying what he has to say there because, as you referenced, there is a requirement that you say you'll support the nominee to get on the debate stage. I agree with you that you can check that box, say, yes, I will support the nominee, and then as you get down the road, just completely walk away from that. If you're doing well, the party's going to rally behind you.
Right. You know, Jon Meacham, there are historical parallels. I don't want anybody to say I'm comparing anybody to Abraham Lincoln because I think Abraham Lincoln was a singular figure in American history. But Mika will tell you, on weekends, on cold Maine weekends, I like to get Let There Be Light by Jon Meacham. I like to get your book and I like to read it and think deep thoughts as I'm holding a cigar and trying to emulate you. But this is what I want to explain.
Cardigan?
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
I've seen
yes.
the cardigan. Please.
But this is what I want to just sort of talk through with our friends that are watching right now that may be disagreeing with what we're saying. Lincoln, from the time he got into the state legislature in 1834 until about 1864, he said some things that would shock most Americans if they read them, like alone, by themselves. He was, even after the Emancipation, talking about colonization, as you know. And it was, I always think about the Horace Greeley letter where Greeley's pushing him, the editor, famous newspaper editor, pushing him to move harder on emancipation and be more aggressive. Lincoln, of course, as we both know, Lincoln used that letter to say, hey, I don't care about slavery. I don't care about emancipation. And he's doing this because he knew the country in the North was racist as well as the South. He said, my job is to unite the Union. Now, if that is half slave, half free, you know what? That's fine with me. If that's all free, that's fine with me. I don't really care. I just want to save the Union. Because he knew that's what he had to say. And he had said more horrible things over the preceding 20 years because he knew how far he could push the voters. And if he got too far ahead of them, he knew he would lose them and he would lose the battle to emancipate slaves. I love the letter and how you describe, and please forgive me, everybody, for going on too long here, but it's important to understand. I love that when Lincoln was finally in a position to make a hard, fast decision, I love you talking about that letter that I think it was Hay sent to the Confederates. And it was about the possibility of settlement because the North was exhausted by war. Lincoln didn't think he could carry this battle on much longer because they were so exhausted. And Lincoln said, that's fine. Let's talk about peace in 1864. And he said, here are my 3 conditions. But, as you know, he said, don't even think about not freeing the slaves. Don't even think about taking emancipation off the table. Because if you do, well, we're going to fight to the bitter end. And when the South decided they were going to fight to the bitter end, till annihilation, to protect the immoral institution of slavery, Lincoln and Grant and Sherman all understood. We're going to have to destroy the Confederate Army. This is total war. There's no more compromising with them. We're going to win. Because in the end, he was in a position at that point to make that call and to stop sort of toggling back and forth.
Right. So if politics were perfect, it wouldn't be politics, right? And Reinhold Niebuhr said, the sad duty of politics is to establish justice in a sinful world. It is a sad duty. Sometimes happy warriors undertake it. Sometimes there are moments of enormous progress and the shedding of light and the realization of more perfection in the Union. But most of the time it's not, because most of the time we're fallen, frail, and fallible people, right? We screw up a hell of a lot more than we get right. I wish that weren't the case, but it is the case. And that was what the founders saw, is what Lincoln saw, it's what FDR saw. FDR was being chided by a young socialist kind of student in the late 30s for not moving fast enough. And he looked at him and said, young man, if I move too fast, I'll look back and no one's there. And so that's the practical nature of what we do. That doesn't mean you don't call things by their name. And I think that's one of the great shifts in recent years. The case, I believe firmly we have to make, and I'm not a Democrat and I'm not a Republican, right? I think the case we have to make is that the Constitution, the capacity of this big, complicated, disputatious democracy to solve problems is more important than any singular partisan vote. And if you have a partisan brain and you think, I'm going to vote for the person whose name is next to that letter no matter what, I don't think that's in the spirit of the Constitution.
Before we move on, we have to stop.
Reinhold Niebuhr.
We have to congratulate the one viewer who this morning took a long shot bet and just made a ton of money choosing Reinhold Niebuhr
That's it.
on the John Meacham bingo card.
I know. That was amazing.
You
I'm
win.
really impressed. So
Somebody just got paid.
well
Thank
done.
you.
Well done.